introduction to microwave. We have seen the definition of microwave. We have seen the classification of the microwaves based on the classical way and based on the microwave frequency bands. We have seen that the L, S, C, X, Q, K, there are a lot of the bands which you can consider as a micro bands where the frequencies are in the range of some 1 gigahertz to up to the 300 gigahertz. And we have seen that the wavelength of that wave is also having some centimeter length or some millimeter length. So in general, we have seen that any electromagnetic wave which is having a centimeter or millimeter wave length, or which is or any RF wave which is having a properties of the electromagnetics, and the frequency is from 300 megahertz to up to 300 gigahertz, then that wave will be considered as a microwave. And today, very specifically, we will start the new chapter. We have seen in our previous class what is the merits, what is the demerits, why the microwaves are widely used, which are the characteristics of that waves. So, based on that, a lot of the applications have already been discussed. So, let me recap only and that in any radio communication, broadcasting, TV, FM, and AM wave, and then satellite communication, radar, navigation, and then in medical applications, and I can say that specifically industrial applications, heating, and some sheet or metal thickness measurement, and there are a lot of the applications of these microwaves. So with this, there is one another very specific application that is called the electromagnetic interference, EMI, and EMC, electromagnetic compatibility. So this EMI and EMCs are nothing but you will find some issues related with some frequencies. So there may be some devices which may have such a setup or such a electronic circuits which may exhibit some electromagnetic interference to the nearby electronics gadgets, and hence we need to somehow, by studying that blocks or some systems, we need to reduce this electromagnetic interference. Even we need to find some electromagnetic compatibility issues also. Sometimes what will happen that there are two different incompatible RF system present, and you may have to solve the problems is in such a way that there will be no compatibility issues. So electromagnetic compatibility issue needs to be taken care by these microwaves also. So in short, in a lot of the applications, either from communication, either from medical, either from industrial, either from very specific radar or navigations too, you are using the microwave signals. So now with these so many applications and the merits and demerits, as I already mentioned in my last class, that and you have to use this microwave most of the time point to point communication. So sometimes it is very difficult to establish the line of sight, and hence it is one of the demerit. There is another demerit that this microwave system is having a lot of the capital cost. It means that if you have to set up any satellite system, then you need a lot of the money. So if you do not have that in terms of the crores of rupees, then you cannot establish the satellite system. So that's why you can consider that this is also one of the demerits of that microwave systems. So in short, microwave, but with respect to the the revenue that has been generated by the satellite, if you invest that much of the capital money, then definitely you will get a lot of the revenue. So I can say that there are more benefits than the demerits, and hence microwaves are nowadays widely used in all over the world. So with this, I will now start the new chapter, which is, I can say that the interleaving chapters in our previous semesters, in your fourth semester electromagnetic theory class, all of you have studied uh, the transmission line chapter. So all of you now know what is transmission line. So we have already studied that the transmission line is one of the medium through which the RF or electromagnetic energy is transferred from one point to the another. We have also seen that the transmission line uh, having a lot of the examples. For example, coaxial cable, for example, two-wire line, for example, microstrip line, for example, planar lines, for example, strip lines. So there are example of the waveguide. Each and these every one can be considered as a transmission line. So ultimate job of this system is to transfer the RF energy. So with that, I can say that in that particularly transmission line, we have also studied some important parameters, and that needs to be used to characterize that transmission line. For example, we have seen the reflection coefficient, we have seen the VSWR, we have seen the input impedance, we have seen the characteristics impedance, we have seen the propagation constant, we have also seen the attenuation constant, we have seen the phase constants. So these are some of the important parameter that actually exhibits or actually characterize the particular transmission line. So in short, suppose you have to analyze or design any transmission line, this parameter should be well known in advance. So once you know these parameters, it is very easy to analyze or design the that transmission line. But what is the demerits? So and hence you need to introduce the new transmission line, and uh, that is called a waveguide. So let us now introduce the new chapter, and with that new concept, it is called the waveguide, or you may consider as a microwave waveguide. So what is microwave waveguide, and what is the difference between the transmission line and the waveguide, and other aspects of the waveguide we will try to see. So today our objective is what is a waveguide, what is the difference between the transmission line and waveguides, what is the applications of the waveguide, what is the different modes of the waveguide, and how we can find out the solution of the different modes in our particular waveguide. So these are the points that we are going to study. So let us slowly start with this first point, which is nothing but the waveguide. So I think all of you can see in my screen there is a one yes, can anyone see the screen where there is a one waveguide I have put in front of the camera? So can anyone see? Please give anyone me the answer. Yes,
Yes,
yes, you can see the screen.
yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So just 1 minute. Hold. So uh, now here this one is considered as a microwave waveguide. So specifically, I can say that it is a rectangular microwave waveguide. Okay. So why it is a rectangular waveguide? Because it has a such a cross section which is a rectangular. So here in this case, you can consider that this is a microwave rectangular waveguide, which is I think but hollow. All of you can see there is a nothing inside, so it is a hollow conducting. So here this part you consider as a conducting or a metallic tube. So rectangular microwave waveguide is a conducting or metallic hollow tube through which the RF energy can be propagated from one point to the another point. For example, if this is your port 1, this is your port 2, and you want to transfer the energy from this side to port 2, then if you feed the power here because of this waveguide, you will get the power at the different port number 2. So in short, I can say that this waveguide is a microwave rectangular waveguide, and it is used to guide the EM energy from one point to the another point. Yes. So as I mentioned that the microwave waveguide is used to guide the EM energy from one point to the another point. So it is now from our screen, as I have mentioned or as I have shown you, that it is a hollow conducting tube through which the energy is transferred. So as I mentioned that the waveguide is having either a rectangular cross sections or a circular cross sections. So here the waveguide that I have shown you is a rectangular microwave waveguide. So why we have chosen only these two shape or these two cross sections? Because in practice, if we have a uniform cross section, then it is easier to manufacture, and its properties are also uniform, and hence easier to calculate. So this way I can say that if you have either used a rectangular or a circular cross sections, then easy to manufacture, easy to understand, easy to calculate the parameter inside this rectangular or circular cross sections. That's why we use either rectangular or a circular cross sections waveguide. Now, as I mentioned, that what is the difference between the waveguide and the transmission line? So the answer is that uh, in our transmission line, all of you have seen that the example is nothing but a simple coaxial cable. So this coaxial cable is generally used uh, up to certain medium frequency. So transmission line is a medium of choice at a medium frequency. So this transmission line can work up to some 1 gigahertz or 2 gigahertz. So if you have a more than this 1 or 2 gigahertz frequency, and if you try to feed the power through this transmission line, then what will happen? In transmission line, all of you know that it has a characteristics that it has a some four distributed parameters R, L, C, and G, and you know that there is a C, there is a C capacitor. It is in between the that two that center conductor, and there is a outer ring. So what will happen at a high frequency, that the C will exhibit a very low reactance, and hence this line will be short circuited. Hence this transmission line cannot operate at after some gigahertz frequencies. So I can say that transmission line is a medium of choice at a medium frequency. So if you want to use up to 1 or 2 gigahertz, that's fine, you can use it. But after the 1 or 2 gigahertz, it is very difficult to design that kind of the cable too. While a waveguide is a medium of choice at a high frequency. For example, if you want to feed the power with the frequency above the 1 gigahertz, then this is the best choice. So whenever you want to feed the energy or power through this waveguide, and if your operating frequency is greater than 1 gigahertz, this is the medium of choice. So waveguide is a medium of choice at a high frequency. Now the next, as we know that the transmission line may operate from DC value to very high frequency. So what we can say that you can consider this one as a plot of some low pass filter. So what is the filter characteristics of low pass filter? So low pass filter has a characteristics that it will pass all the low frequency component, or I can say that it will pass up to certain high frequency all the components, and then after some cutoff frequency, if you try to pass the signal through that low pass filter, that low pass filter will attenuate that signal, and that signal cannot be passed through that filter. So same way here also, up to from DC to very high frequency can be passed, but then after that 1 gigahertz signals, I can say that in transmission line cannot be operated. Hence, transmission line can be considered as a, it will be act as a low pass filter. While what is happening in a waveguide? So in waveguide, actually operates above certain frequency, and it is called the some cutoff frequency. So if your operating frequency is greater than that cutoff frequency, then and then only the energy can be transferred through that waveguide and can propagate inside that waveguide. So it means that I can say that the waveguide act as a high pass filter. So in short, the transmission line will act as a low pass filter, while the waveguide will act as a high pass filter. Now the next, as you know that the transmission line can support only transverse electromagnetic mode. So now all of you know the mode, but if you do not remember the mode, then in a single line I can say that mode is nothing but the way in which the E and H field distributed within that transmission line, and particularly in transmission line case, TEM mode exists because we know that the here E field and the H field both are mutually perpendicular, and these both are also perpendicular to the propagation directions. So ultimately, you can say that you will find Ez equal to 0 and Hz is equal to 0, and you will get that all the component, other component, transverse component present over that transmission line. But here, in case of the waveguide, the TEM mode does not exist. That I will explain you, but at this moment, so please remember these things only, that waveguide cannot, does not support the TEM mode. So what will happen? Waveguide can support many possible field configurations. Either it will be considered as a TE mode or a TM mode. So we will see that part, but at this moment, you please remember these things only, that the difference between the transmission line and waveguide in terms of the mode is nothing but the transmission line can support TEM mode, while in waveguide there are many possible configurations or mode can exist, either in terms of the TE or either in terms of the TM modes. Now next, transmission line, as we have seen that generally been analyzed by the voltage and current. So we can say that we will apply the circuit theory to solve any transmission line problems. While in case of the waveguide cannot be analyzed using the circuit theory. We have to use the electromagnetic E and H field theory. So ultimately, we have to use the Maxwell's equations to solve the or to get the solution of that E and H field. So, for example, if we have to characterize any waveguide, if we have to characterize any mode inside the waveguide, then we need to analyze using the field theory. Okay, so these are the mainly four main differences between the waveguide and the transmission line. Let me clear once again. There are a lot of the other differences also. For example, transmission line cannot handle more than few watt power. It means that transmission line can support only few watt or few maximum kilowatt power, but here waveguide can support up to, for example, thousand of kilowatt power. So this is the difference. Transmission line can only handle the few watt or few kilowatt of power, while waveguide can support the thousand of kilowatt of power. So that is the main difference. Because so, and hence because of this capability of the handling the power, this type of the waveguides are generally used at a transmitter. So in our satellite communication, for example, at the ground stations, we need a huge power. So for transferring this huge power, we have to use this kind of the waveguides. So this is what the few differences of the waveguide and the transmission line. So let me clear one or two important other points, that the conduction of the energy takes place through the dielectric filling waveguide. So usually air. So let me clear here that whatever the energy taking place through this waveguide is generally through the air, not through the wall of the guide. So what will happen? This guide wall only confines the energy. એટલે એમ કહેવાય કે ખાલી wallનું કામ તો શું છે? It just confines the energy. It will not take parts to flow of that energy. The conduction of the energy takes place through the air, through the dielectric medium, not through the wall of the guide. So please take care this one important point. And there is another point that you need to take care, that the E and H field inside the waveguide must be the solution of the Maxwell equations. એટલે કહેવાનો મતલબ કે એવું કોઈ મોડ કે કન્ફિગ્યુરેશન્સ એક્ઝિસ્ટ ના કરે કે જે મેક્સવેલના ઇક્વેશનને ફોલો કરતા ના હોય. Always you will find some E and H field inside the guide, so and so way that it must obey the solution of that Maxwell equation. So this field must satisfy also the boundary condition imposed by the walls of that waveguide. એટલે એમ કહી શકાય કે મેં તમને, let me clear once again, let me show you once again the waveguide, so that point will clear. That here I can say that this is your front wall. એટલે કે આ સામેની બાજુ છે. This one is your back side wall. These are some side walls. This one is your side walls. This one is also your side walls. So it means whenever we are looking for the solution of these Maxwell equations, then we need to impose the boundary conditions over these walls. So કહેવાનો મતલબ કે આપણે આ જે કંડક્ટિંગ પહેલાં ટ્રાન્સમિશન લાઇન હતું ને, એમાં આ પ્રકારની બાઉન્ડ્રીઝ હતી નહીં. E ફિલ્ડ અને H ફિલ્ડ છે એ થ્રુ એર પ્રોપોગેટ તમને, અથવા તો એ ડાયલેક્ટ્રિક મીડિયમ થ્રુ તમને પ્રોપોગેટ થતી હતી. જ્યારે અહીંયા because these are some confining walls, metallic or conducting walls, and hence the boundary condition must be satisfied, so that we will get the solution of the E and H field inside this guide. So please take care કે તમને ફિઝિકલ સ્ટ્રક્ચર ઉપરથી જ ક્લિયર થાય છે કે હવે આપણે જ્યારે આ પ્રકારના વેવગાઇડનું ઇલેક્ટ્રોમેગ્નેટિક ફિલ્ડના ટર્મમાં એનાલિસિસ કરતા હોય ત્યારે આપણે E ફિલ્ડ અને H ફિલ્ડનું સોલ્યુશન શોધતા હોય ત્યારે we need to be take care of these boundary conditions too, which are nothing but the conducting walls. So this way I just want to convey that the point that this field must satisfy the boundary condition imposed by the walls of that waveguide. Okay, so these are the points that needs to be taken care while you are trying to understand the waveguide. So let me recap. Waveguide is used to guide the EM energy. It is a hollow conducting tube through which energy is transferred. It is either rectangular or a circular cross sections, and this because of these uniform cross sections you are trying to find out, it is easy to manufacture, and its properties are uniform and easier to calculate the E and H field. So now let me let me try to once again try to give you some depth of the knowledge about these modes. So we have already seen that in transmission line TEM wave supports. So what does it mean? That the E field and the H field components are mutually perpendicular to the direction of the propagations. Hence we will get Z and HL is equal to 0, but all other component will remain present, and E and H both are oscillating and both are mutually perpendicular, and they both are also perpendicular to the direction of the propagation. Here, for example, the propagation direction is Z, then in the Z direction you will get this component is equal to 0. So here, as I mentioned, that the coaxial cable supports the transverse electromagnetic modes, and as there is no boundary condition apply in it, hence uh, uh, we will find that we will always get this transverse electromagnetic mode. If there is a boundary present, if there is a conducting wall present, then you need to apply that boundary condition, and hence you have to see that which are the different configurations of the mode or the field exist in that cell. તો અહીંયા શું થાય છે વેવગાઇડની અંદર because we here we are getting a different TE or TM mode. So what is the TE mode and what is the TM mode? So let me clearly in a simple one line what is TE mode. So I can say that it is a transverse electric મોડ ટીઈ મોડ એટલે કે એવું કહી શકાય કે જો ટોટલ જે ઈ અને એચ ફિલ્ડના કમ્પોનન્ટ હોય એમાંથી જો ઝેડ ડાયરેક્શન છે that is your propagation direction, and if your EZ component એટલે કે જે ડાયરેક્શનમાં propagationની direction છે એ directionમાં if E field is purely transverse એટલે કે EZ is equal to 0 હોય and magnetic field component is not purely transverse એટલે કે HZ is not equal to 0, તો એ કેસમાં that mode is considered as a TE mode. So please remember, if EZ is equal to 0 and if HZ is not equal to 0, it means that mode is considered as a transverse electric field mode. Same way, there is another possibility, and that is called the TM mode. So in TM mode, there is a slight mistake. In TM mode, only M field is purely transverse to the direction of propagation. એટલે કે HZ is equal to 0, but EZ is not equal to 0. So in TM mode, only M field is purely transverse to the direction of propagation, and the electric field is not purely transverse. So it means that you will find there are field of the component, electric field component, which are nothing but the EX, EY and EZ present, and there is a HX and HY present. But in TM mode you will get HZ equal to 0. So always you will find HZ equal to 0 component in TM mode, while in case of the TE mode you will find HX, you will find HY, you will find HZ, you will find HX, you will find EX, you will find EY, but you will not get EZ equal to something. So you will get EZ always equal to 0. So in short, whenever you have a this type of different mode of the configuration of the field, then based on the which field is transverse to the direction of propagation, you have a different name of the mode, either TE mode or either TM mode. So let me write you the mathematical expression of this TE mode and TM mode, so everything will make clear. So let me show you that part. 1 minute, hold. Hello, hello, am I getting? Yes, all of you are getting my voice? Okay. Hello, yes? Yes. Okay, fine. So let me tell you that when a wave, for example, is propagating or traveling along the positive z direction, then the wave equation for either for TE or TM mode can be written as, I can write that for a TM wave. So for the TM wave, we have a Hz is equal to 0. So for this case, the wave should obey these relations. That square Ez, that is equal to minus omega square mu epsilon Ez. So all of you have remember in our my previous electromagnetic theory class, that is we have studied the uniform plane wave equations. So here same way we have used that Maxwell equations to get or to explain the this T and Tm mode. So this is one of your, I can say that the Helmholtz equations which actually express the Tm wave. Same way for the TE wave, where we know that now Ez component is equal to 0 while other components are present. So for that case, I can say that the expression wave equation is nothing but the del square Hz, that is nothing but minus omega square mu epsilon then Hz. So these are the two very well-known Helmholtz wave equations which can be used to characterize uh, the TE wave and the TM wave inside the rectangular or circular waveguide. So here particularly, let me explain that this Ez can be expressed as E0z into e raised to minus gamma z, where all of you know that this E0z is nothing but the maximum electric field in the z direction. So this is the maximum E field in z direction, while this gamma is nothing but our propagation constant. We know based on that gamma we have alpha plus j beta, where alpha is nothing but our attenuation constant and beta is nothing but our phase constant. And this beta we have already know that it is nothing but having a relation of that 2 pi by lambda, where lambda is nothing but our operating wavelength. So this way
हेलो सर।
now, yes, you can ask the question.
सर सब कुछ उल्टा दिख रहा है।
हाँ, उल्टा दिख रहा है. So you have to
Yes, sir.
tell me now. Let me. Is it fine? Now?
नो सर,
Now? 1 minute.
नो सर, आई थिंक वो फ्रंट मोड में है।
1 minute. ये zoom हो गया ना, इसलिए ऐसा हो रहा है. Now it's fine. One minute. Because what is happening here? Can you see now?
હા સર બતાય છે પણ ઉલટું
એમ નહીં, ઉલટું બતાવી છે પણ હવે થયું ક્લિયર કરેક્ટ એમ કહું છું. મેં ફ્લિપ તો કર્યું.
ના સર
હવે હવે હવે
હા સર હવે ઓકે
હવે ઓકે લાગે છે? એમને એટલે ઊંધું થયું કઈ બાજુ? કેમ કે
Yes,
I
sir.
cannot see it. That's
Yes,
why
sir.
I'm telling you.
Now okay, sir.
Now it's fine. ઓકે, તો આ
Yes, sir.
ઓલું બધું લખ્યું એ બધું તમે સમજ્યા કે ખાલી ઉલટું તો ઉલટું, અહીંયા તો બધું ચાલ્યું એવું ના ચાલવું જોઈએ હે? આ એક્સપ્રેશન મેં તમને કીધા એ સમજ્યા તમે? Okay, so here these are the two main wave equations which actually characterize the TM wave and the TE wave, which is which we already know that this is the thing, but the Helmholtz wave equations which actually characterize the mode present inside the waveguide, either in circular or a rectangular waveguide, and particularly in these wave equations, this Ez component is having this relation. Ez is nothing but E0z e raised to minus gamma z. So the way in which the E field, electric field component is present can be expressed by this equation. And this expression is having a parameter like E0z, gamma and gamma, where gamma is nothing but our propagation constant, which actually give you the idea about how much attenuation inside that guide, and how much, what is the phase constant value. So this is the in general relations, but we will also see in-depth equations while we will try to find out the TE and TM mode inside the rectangular and circular waveguide. તો બરોબર છે, આટલું તો ક્લિયર છે, આ ઇક્વેશન્સ તો બરોબર છે, ક્લિયર લાગે છે હવે? ફાઇન? હજી ફાઇન? યસ ઓર નો? હેલો, શું કહો છો? હેલો, હા બોલો, શું કહો છો? બોલો બોલો, મારો તમારો અવાજ ધીમો આવે છે. હા, રિપીટ કરું? હા, રિપીટ કરો એમ કહો છો ને? હા, તો અહીંયા આ જે બે ઇક્વેશન છે, ઉપરનું જે TM વેવ છે, બરાબર બતાય છે, હા, TM વેવ કે જે મેં તમને સમજાવ્યું કે વેર if Hz is equal to 0, then that wave mode will be considered as a TM wave, and that PM wave will obey this wave equations, which is nothing but the delta square Ez is equal to minus omega square mu epsilon Ez. અને જ્યારે TE વેવ એટલે કે Ez equal to 0 હોય ત્યારે વેવ ઇક્વેશન આવું થઈ જશે. તો અહીંયા તમે જુઓ તો there is a Hz component present હોય TE વેવમાં, અને TM વેવની અંદર Ez component 0 હોય. તો આવી રીતે એમાં આ Ez component છે કે જે એકચ્યુઅલી તમારું ઇલેક્ટ્રિક ફિલ્ડ એક્સપ્રેસ કરે છે. તો એ જે ઇલેક્ટ્રિક ફિલ્ડ એક્સપ્રેસ કરે છે એમનો કઈ રીતના એક્સપ્રેસ કરી શકાય? તો કે ભાઈ ઇટ વિલ બી એક્સપ્રેસ બાય E0z e raised to minus gamma z, where e raised to gamma z is nothing but I can say that આ તમારું આઇગન વેલ્યુઝ છે કે જ્યાં ગામા છે એ પ્રોપગેશન કોન્સ્ટન્ટ છે, અને ગામાની વેલ્યુ આલ્ફા અને બીટા, એટલે કે આલ્ફા એટલે કે અટેન્યુએશન કોન્સ્ટન્ટ અને બીટા એટલે કે ફેઝ કોન્સ્ટન્ટ. તો એ લાઇનનું કેટલું અટેન્યુએશન છે, એ લાઇનનો ફેઝ કોન્સ્ટન્ટ કેટલો છે, એના મુજબથી એ લાઇનનો પ્રોપગેશન કોન્સ્ટન્ટ કેટલું છે, એના પરથી તમને વેવગાઇડની કેરેક્ટરિસ્ટિક્સ ખબર પડે. તો અલ્ટિમેટલી તમને ઈ ફિલ્ડ મળે, ને ઈ ફિલ્ડ મળે તો તમે યુ કેન ફાઇન્ડ આઉટ ધ ડિફરન્ટ ફિલ્ડ બિહેવિયર, કે તમારે ફિલ્ડનું બિહેવિયર જાણવું હોય અથવા તે મોડ કઈ રીતના પ્રેઝન્ટ છે એ વેવગાઇડની અંદર એ સ્ટડી કરી શકો. So this is what in short I can say that there are mainly three modes. One is called the TEM wave or TEM mode, there is a TM wave or TM mode, then there is a TE mode or TE wave. તો આ જે વેવ છે અથવા તો આ જે મોડ થયા એ મોડમાં હવે મેં તમને એમ કીધું કે વેવગાઇડની અંદર શું થાય છે કે there are કંડક્ટિંગ વોલ્સ અથવા કે વોલ છે, કંડક્ટિંગ વોલ હોવાને કારણે શું થાય કે યુ નીડ ટુ કન્સિડર ધ બાઉન્ડ્રી કન્ડિશન્સ. હવે તમે જ્યારે આ બાઉન્ડ્રી કન્ડિશન એપ્લાય કરો ને એ વેવગાઇડમાં, ત્યારે એવું કહી શકાય કે જે એક યુનિફોર્મ એક સિંગલ વેવલેન્થ અથવા તો યુનિફોર્મ પ્લેન વેવ જે વેવગાઇડની અંદર એન્ટર થતું હોય એમની જગ્યાએ, બીકોઝ વોટ વિલ હેપન એ જે સિંગલ યુનિફોર્મ પ્લેન વેવ because of that reflection over that wall, તો એને કારણે શું થાય કે એની જે લેમ્બડા હોય એ લેમ્બડા બદલાઈ જાય, એમના જે કમ્પોનન્ટની વેલ્યુ છે એ બદલાઈ જાય. So what will happen now that field, that uniform plane wave resolves into some different આઈધર ટીઈ ફિલ્ડ ઓર ટીએમ ફિલ્ડમાં કન્વર્ટ થઈ જાય. એટલે એ કેમ થાય તો એ હું તમને પહેલાં અહીંયા આપણે સિમ્પલ એક બે સ્લાઇડ જોઈએ અથવા તો મારી આમાંથી તમને આઈડિયા આવશે. સો વોટ વિલ હેપન, તો પહેલાં તો હું તમને એ કહી દઉં જે તમને શું અગત્યનું છે કે ધેર આર બાઉન્ડ્રી કન્ડિશન. સો આપણે જેમ જોયું કે કન્ડક્ટિંગ વોલ હોવાને કારણે TEM વેવ ડઝ નોટ એક્ઝિસ્ટ ઇન વેવગાઇડ. તો એવું શા માટે કીધું તો કે ધેર આર ટુ પ્રાઇમ બાઉન્ડ્રી કન્ડિશન વિચ મસ્ટ બી સેટિસ્ફાઈડ. સો વન ઇઝ કોલ્ડ વોટ કે તમે જ્યારે બાઉન્ડ્રી કન્ડિશન તમે આઈ થિંક ઓલ ઓફ યુ અવેર અબાઉટ ધ બાઉન્ડ્રી કન્ડિશન because we have studied this boundary condition of electromagnetic theory. કે જ્યારે કોઈ બે મીડિયમ બે અલગ અલગ મીડિયમ હોય, ફોર એક્ઝામ્પલ એક એર હોય ને એક કન્ડક્ટિંગ મીડિયમ હોય, તો એ કેસની અંદર ધારો કે કોઈ બે મીડિયમ હોય, એક ડેલેક્ટ્રિક એપ્સિલોન 1 હોય, એક બીજાનો એપ્સિલોન 2 હોય, તો એ કેસની અંદર બાઉન્ડ્રી કન્ડિશન શું આવે તો આપણે અલગ અલગ બાઉન્ડ્રી કન્ડિશન જોયેલી હતી. તો એ પ્રમાણે શું ઇમ્પોર્ટન્ટ છે કે ધારો કે એક સાઈડ એર હોય અને બીજી સાઈડ કન્ડક્ટિંગ વોલ હોય, ધેન એ પ્રકારની વચ્ચે જ્યારે બાઉન્ડ્રીઝ હોય તો એ કેસમાં ધેર આર ટુ ઇમ્પોર્ટન્ટ બાઉન્ડ્રી કન્ડિશન વિચ મસ્ટ બી સેટિસ્ફાઈડ ઓર વિચ મસ્ટ મીટ. વન ઇઝ કોલ્ડ ધ ઈ ફિલ્ડ મસ્ટ બી ઓર્થોગોનલ ટુ ધ કંડક્ટર ટુ એક્ઝિસ્ટ એટ ધ સરફેસ ઓફ ધેટ કંડક્ટર. એટલે કે ઈ ફિલ્ડ છે ને મસ્ટ બી ઓર્થોગોનલ હોવું જોઈએ ટુ ધેટ કંડક્ટર, કે જે સરફેસ ઉપર કંડક્ટર હોય ને એનો ઓર્થોગોનલ એટલે કે પરપેન્ડિક્યુલર હોવું જોઈએ. સેકન્ડ બાઉન્ડ્રી કન્ડિશન શું છે કે મેગ્નેટિક ફિલ્ડ મસ્ટ નોટ બી ઓર્થોગોનલ ટુ ધ સરફેસ ઓફ ધેટ વેવગાઇડ. તો જો આ બે કન્ડિશન સેટિસ્ફાઈડ થાય તો જ TEM વેવ પ્રોપોગેટ થાય. પરંતુ પ્રોબ્લેમ શું થાય છે કે બીકોઝ હિયર ધેર ઇઝ એ કન્ડક્ટિંગ વોલ ઇનસાઇડ ધ વેવગાઇડ એન્ડ હેન્સ when one uniform plane wave enter inside the waveguide, it does not exist the TEM wave because આ જે સાઇડ વોલ હોય એ એવું બને કે આમાંથી એકાદ કન્ડિશન સેટિસ્ફાઈડ કરે નહીં, અને જ્યારે આ બાઉન્ડ્રી કન્ડિશન સેટિસ્ફાઈડ થાય નહીં એટલે એમ કહેવાય કે જો ભાઈ જો બાઉન્ડ્રી કન્ડિશન જ સેટિસ્ફાઈડ થતી ન હોય તો પછી એ વેવને તમે ટ્રાન્સવર્સ ઇલેક્ટ્રોમેગ્નેટિક વેવ કહી શકાય નહીં. તો એનો મતલબ એવો થાય કે એને આપણે નાવ વી કેન કન્સિડર એઝ એ અનધર નેમ એન્ડ વી કેન સે ધેટ this one is nothing but our either TE mode or TM mode. તો એટલા માટે એમ કહેવાય કે as there are the boundary condition must be met in waveguide, hence TEM does not exist in the waveguide. So there are two prime boundary condition which must be met. One is E field must be orthogonal to the conductor to exist at the surface of the conductor, and second one is magnetic field must not be orthogonal to the surface of the waveguide. Hence, in waveguide supports only either TE wave or TM mode. So it does not support the TEM mode. તો એનો મતલબ એવો થયો કે વેવગાઇડ છે બીકોઝ એ બાઉન્ડ્રી કન્ડિશનને સેટિસ્ફાઈડ કરતું નથી એટલા માટે વેવગાઇડ TEM મોડ સપોર્ટ કરે નહીં, અને એટલા માટે આઈધર ઇટ વિલ સપોર્ટ TE ઓર TM મોડ. તો હવે વોટ ઇઝ ધ મોડ્સ ઓફ ધ TE wave and TM wave in waveguide? તો મેં તમને એમ કીધું કે now there are two possibilities. One is considered as a TE mode or there is a possibility of the TM mode. So this propagation of the modes for this both TE and TM mode designated by some two subscript M and M. So what is M and what is N? So actually let me show you once again before I show you the actual waveguide, so you all of you will clear this concept that okay, so all of you can see once again the waveguide. Okay, so here this one is your broader side, આને શું કહેવાય wider side કહેવાય, આને શું કહેવાય narrow side કહેવાય. Are you getting? Suppose this one is your X, this one is your Y, then the propagation direction is the thing but your નીચેની સાઈડમાં આ સાઈડ તમારી there is your propagation directions. So this one is your X direction, this one is your Y direction, અને જે આ direction છે this one direction is your Z direction. Then અહીંયા what we have to do, we have to use some subscript. તો જે wider side છે, આ જે wider side છે, જે લાંબી સાઈડ છે, જેની લેન્થ છે એ ઓલમોસ્ટ ડબલ બતાવે છે, then this wider side will be subscribed by the m. So m actually indicates how many number of the half wave variations. શું છે? m actually indicates the number of wave variation inside this wider side axis. એટલે કે એક સાઈડ મારી x એક્સિસ છે એ મારી વાઇડર એક્સિસ છે, તો કેટલા નંબર ઓફ હાફ વેવ્સ નું વેરિએશન એક સાઈડમાં છે એ કોણ ઇન્ડિકેટ કરે? તો એ m નામનો સબસ્ક્રિપ્ટ ઇન્ડિકેટ કરે. એવી રીતે સપોઝ n, so n actually indicates the narrow side, y axis. So how many number of the half wave variations in a y direction અથવા તો નેરો સાઇડ ડાયરેક્શન્સમાં કેટલા વેરિએશન આવે છે એ જે છે that can be indicated by the n subscript. એટલે મોટા ભાગના કેસમાં now let me go back to the that તો અહીંયા જુઓ તમે, here I have mentioned these two parts, TEMN and TMMN mode. So what does it actually indicates? M actually indicates, એટલે કે સબસ્ક્રિપ્ટમાં જે M actually indicates number of half wave variation of the electric field in the wider dimension of the waveguide. Wider એટલે મેં તમને શું કીધું કે આપણે બ્રોડ સાઇડ એટલે કે જે સૌથી લાંબી સાઇડ છે એ બાજુમાં કેટલા નંબર ઓફ હાફ વેવ વેરિએશન આવે છે, તો that indicates by this m. For example, m can be 1, m can be 2, m can be 3, m can be 4, m can be anything, બરાબર, up to the infinite. Same way n can be 0, n can be 1, n can be 2, n can be up to the very large number. So here n indicates actually number of the half wave variation of the electric field in the narrow dimension અથવા તો b of that waveguide. એટલે હંમેશા યાદ રાખો કે મોટા ભાગના કેસમાં તમે જ્યારે વેવગાઇડનું એનાલિસિસ કરતા હશો તો આ જે બ્રોડ સાઇડ છે એને ડાયમેન્શન એનું વેરિયેબલ છે ને એ યુઝ કરવામાં આવશે, એ એઝ એ વેરિયેબલ. જ્યારે આ ઉપરનું જે નેરો ડાયમેન્શન છે ઇટ વિલ બી ઇન્ડિકેટેડ બાય ધ સ્મોલ બી. એટલે તમે કોઈ પણ યુટ્યુબનો વિડીયો જોશો તો જે બ્રોડ સાઇડ હશે ઇટ વિલ બી કન્સિડર એઝ એ એન્ડ ધ શોર્ટર સાઇડ વિલ બી કન્સિડર એઝ એ બી. So m actually indicates the how many number of the half wave variation, in a broader side. એટલે હવે ધારો કે હું તમને એક એક્ઝામ્પલ આપું તો એનાથી તમને ક્લિયર થઈ જાય કે ધારો કે મારે TE11 મોડ એક્ઝિબિટ કરવો છે, તો TE11 નો મતલબ શું થાય? Here m equal to 1, n equal to 1. So what does it indicate? It actually indicates કે આ રીતના ફિગર બનાવું, બરાબર. આ તમને જો એકચ્યુઅલ વેવગાઇડ પણ બતાય છે અને હું અહીંયા પણ તમને બતાવું છું. So what does it indicate? એનો મતલબ એવો થાય કે ભાઈ આ ડાયરેક્શન તમારી એ સાઈડની ડાયરેક્શન છે, આ ડાયરેક્શન છે that is your b સાઈડ ડાયરેક્શન, આ વાઇડર સાઈડની છે, આ નેરો સાઈડની છે, અને આમાં પણ બતાય જ છે આ તમારી વાઇડર સાઈડ છે, આ નેરો સાઈડ છે. તો અહીંયા 1 કરવું હોય તો 1 નો મતલબ શું થાય કે ભાઈ મેક્સિમમ નંબર ઓફ વેરિએશન કેટલા? તો કે ભાઈ m is actually indicates the one variations, one e field નું હાફ વેવ વેરિએશન્સ. એટલે કે આ એક હાફ સાયકલ થઈ. Are you getting my point? So it is called one half wave variation. So it actually indicates કે ભાઈ m equal to 1. હવે એવી રીતના n equal to 1 અત્યારે હું ફિગરમાં ના બતાડી શકું, પરંતુ જો તમે આને 3D માં આમ કરી અને બતાવો તો અહીંયા તમને અહીંયા આ જે રીતના એક આ બાજુ આમ કરું તો this will be your I can consider as a one wave, એક હાફ નંબર ઓફ વેવ સાયકલ એક્ઝિસ્ટ કરે છે એવું કહેવાય. એટલે આ પ્રકારનું જે ફિલ્ડનું ડિસ્ટ્રીબ્યુશન્સ જ્યારે આ વેવ ગાઇડની અંદર થાય અને જો મોડ છે એ TE11 હોય તો તમે એમ કહી શકો કે TE11 માં એક હાફ વેવ સાયકલ છે, એટલે કે આ રીતે એક એક્ઝિસ્ટ હશે અને અહીંયા આ સાઈડમાં પણ એવી જ રીતે એક હાફ વેવ સાયકલ આવી રીતે એક્ઝિસ્ટ કરતી હશે. Are you getting? So this way this is your TE11. So same way I can say that TE10 કરવું હોય તો શું કહેવાય? તો TE10 નો મતલબ એવો થાય કે આ જે બી ડાયરેક્શનમાં there is no variation, એટલે આ ફિલ્ડ આ રીતના એક્ઝિસ્ટ કરતી હશે નહીં. Only you will find there is a one half wave variations in a direction of that a, in the direction of that, for example, x-axis. આ તમારી y-axis હોય તો. So this way I can say that કે જ્યારે તમને whenever you want to study the different mode, you should know that how this m and n indicates and what is the value of that mode, whether it is a TE11, whether it is a TE10, whether it is a TE01, or whether it is a TE21, whether it is a TE22. So depending upon the number of the value of that